All right, we recording, baby. Hoo. What song do you want to hear? She was a playboy, brave by dawn. She told me things I didn't know. She did it right there out on the deck. Put a canine teeth on the back of my neck. The hallway, waiting for you. Mini skirt and a go-go boots. I just want you to make a move. So slow down, sit down with you. I just wanna get to know ya. Guess I didn't quite think it through. Fell in love with the thought of you. Now I'm choked up, down. Run went well today. I went just over 21 miles in the 4 hours. It went really well. Got to hook up and link up with the folks over at Daybreak Racing, and there were quite a few people out there despite it absolutely pouring rain. I was soaking wet from the very beginning, and in fact, I overdressed and had to shed clothing immediately. I got to the Wyeth trailhead this morning before going to Cascade Locks. Fortunately, I was on my way. It was on my way. So I hid my water bottle amongst the... Alright, you definitely can't see it, but it's right there. There's the bathroom. So that will be waiting for me at the halfway point. Hopefully, no one sees it or messes with it. I don't really know why they would go there. Alright, onwards to Cascade Locks. Behind the restroom at Wyeth for when I got there at 10-ish miles, because I knew I was going to be out of water by that point because I didn't want to carry a hydration pack. Baby, why don't you come over? Red wine supernova, falling into me. I don't care if you're a stoner. Red wine supernova, fall right into me. All right, y'all, let's go. It spread out pretty immediately in terms of the group, and I ran alone for most of the time, which was totally fine. I'm very familiar with that section, of course, and it was great to get even more practice in on it. All of my nutrition that I showed you how I made it yesterday, go watch that video if you haven't already, went down really smooth. I find that it is not a challenge at all to finish 150 milliliters of gel liquid in an hour. It's actually very simple, and I find that I can't wait to drink that for all 10 hours because 4 hours went super smoothly. I had no problems. I felt like I was salting myself perfectly. I felt like I was carbing myself up perfectly. And what else? I mean, not to say that it was an uneventful run. My feet got soaked in a lot of the creek crossings as they were flowing abundantly due to the very heavy rain. I think it was snowing. I think it was raining 1.5 inches today in and around Cascade Locks, and I got the full brunt of that, I think, during my morning run. My feet were very pruny and gross afterwards, and like I said, I had to shed a layer when we weren't even a mile in, and I was already shedding my gloves, shedding my outer layer, and I had to tuck that into my shorts because, again, I didn't have a pack to put it in, and I didn't have a belt to hang it on. So it was just shoved into my shorts and kind of hanging out. And I had to run with it that way for about 10 miles. When I got to the cache at Wyeth, I decided to leave that behind with the cache because I felt like it was a pretty safe bet that it was still going to be there when I got back later. There were 0 cars at the Wyeth Trailhead when I got there at around 10 a.m., and which means that none of the mountain bikers were out, no day hikers were out, nobody. Just empty, humongous parking lot. All right, climbing out of Wyeth. About 2 hours in, everything is wet. I like what you like. That's my type. You just told me, want me to fuck you, baby. I really want to. I just wanna get to know ya. Guess I didn't quite think it through. Fell in love with the thought of you. Now I'm choked up, face down, turned down. So yeah, those of us on the run today pretty much had the trails to ourselves. It was a little eventful on the way back when I crested the the climb around where we are about to descend down to the Herman Creek Junction. There were a number of trees that were falling actively due to the wind and the rain. I saw some pretty big trees go down over to my left, and that gave me a little excitement and a little more oomph to get out of there and get back to my car and get dry. And yeah, it was a great run. I almost went up to Dry Creek Falls, but decided against it because it was all uphill, and I had enough uphill at that point. So I turned back around and just went back to the Cascade Locks aid station staging area, and then eventually back to my car, which was parked around Marine Park. And then I swapped my shoes and my socks and drove to the Wyeth Trailhead, where I retrieved my cache of very wet items and changed into some dry clothes and drove immediately to Hood River, where my favorite local restaurant, Golden Goods, had sandwiches ready. Not really ready, I ordered them, but they take a winter hiatus every year, and this was the first time I had been in 2025. This was the first time I had been in probably about 4 months. So imagine not being able to eat at your favorite restaurant for 4 months. I got a mushroom po' boy. It was the tastiest one I've ever had. I've had at least a dozen of these sandwiches over the course of their existence, and this was the best one in my opinion. I don't know what they did to the sauce today. I don't know what they did to the mushrooms today. I think they chopped them up a little finer. Sometimes when you take a bite of the mushroom, because they're oyster mushrooms, you kind of pull a lot of the mushroom out. These were just perfect bites, perfect wrap. I think the failing of a lot of sandwich places is they don't make wet enough sandwiches. And this sandwich was sauced to the max, perfectly wet, perfect post-run snack, and I even got a funfetti cookie that I enjoyed when I got back to the homestead. And I forgot to include that all of that food is vegan, which is kind of wild. And very tasty. I got Molly a tea blat to go, which is a tomato, bacon, lettuce, avocado, and tempeh. They have great, delicious marinated tempeh. And I also got her a chocolate chunk cookie, which is also vegan. So good day overall. Excited for... I have another run tomorrow to cap off the week. And then next week I will be heading to Indiana. And on Friday, I will be running a large section of the Knobstone Trail with some people, and that will be a ton of fun. I should be running for about 6 hours. It'll be the longest run of this training block, and it'll be back on the Knobstone, which I love so dearly. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for other videos, which will be coming out daily. Goodbye. Sitting on that fucking log.